Hello everyone and welcome to week 4. You guys, I just want to say of my 3 classes, the geometry class has been doing the most work, so I'm really proud of you guys. I know this is a hard time, but I really appreciate you guys working hard and at least attempting the SRs or getting on there and starting them. Remember that you can always reach out to me, even Mrs. Paul, and ask for help. I check my email a lot, so I'm happy to respond to you and walk you through the problems even as you're taking the SR. So we are skipping, oops, this should actually say 4.5. We are skipping 4.4 and we're doing 4.5. So it is over isosceles and equilateral triangles, which in my opinion isn't too bad. So here are the guided notes that go with the PV Online video. If you haven't watched the video, please watch it. She goes over all of this, but I filled out the notes for you. As always, there are a blank copy posted on Google Classroom as well. So these are still the notes, and then the practice, which again should say 4.5. I apologize. We're skipping 4.4. So a couple of my reminders. All triangles will add up to 180 degrees. No matter what the triangle looks like, they will all add up to 180 degrees. Another thing to remember is that straight lines also equal 180 degrees. So one way that you can think about that is this example here. If we want to know what the measure of like QRT is, we know that TRS is 45. We know that QRS makes a straight line. So we would subtract 180 minus 45, and we would get the measure of QRT, and that would be 135 because we subtracted those, which makes sense because if we look at this angle, we know that that's an obtuse angle. It's pretty wide. So we know that 135 is going to make sense. It's going to be more than 90. So that's good to remember. Also look at the markers to determine which sides and angles are congruent. So we're talking about 2 different triangles here. Isosceles, which I can show you at the top. Isosceles are where you have 2 sides that are congruent. So we have the legs that are congruent, and then those angles are also going to be congruent. So they have 2 legs that are congruent, 2 sides, and 2 angles that are the same. Equilateral, oops, it's just like it sounds, it's equal. So all of them are equal. All sides are equal. So we have 3 of the same marker, and then all angles are equal. And they're all going to have to be 60 degrees because 60 plus 60 plus 60 equals 180. So for equilateral triangles, she doesn't really say this in the video, but every single angle will be 60 degrees. Okay, so let's go into the practice. Those are my little reminders. Make sure you look, first, is it an isosceles or an equilateral triangle, and then figure out from there. So for the practice, it says, what is the value of x? So we know that this, because there are 2 of the same markers, it's going to be an isosceles. It's not going to be an equilateral because there's not 3 of the same. There's only 2. So we know it's going to be an isosceles, which means that if this is 40, this side is also going to be 40. So pretty easy. That one is x equals 40. Then it says, based on your answer from number 1, what is the remaining angle in the isosceles triangle? So if we know that x is 40 and this is 40, we want to know what is a going to be, okay? So we would have 40 plus 40 equals 80. We know all triangles add up to 180, so you would do 180 minus 80, and we would get that one, the last remaining one would be equal to 100, okay? This is similar, number 3, to what you will see on a question on the SR. It says, this diagram below represents an isosceles triangle. What is the value of A? So this is where I was talking about where we have the straight line, okay? So we know that this is an isosceles triangle right here, CAB. We know that this is 80, but we don't know what A and B are. We do know that those are going to be the same. So this makes a straight line here. So this is 130 here. we know that it makes a straight line, which equals 180 degrees. So we subtract 180 minus 130. We get 50 degrees. So B is equal to 50. And we're asking for A. Well, because those are the same, A is also going to equal 50. That makes sense too, because if it was 50 plus 50, that would be 100. 100 plus 80 would equal 180. So we know that A is going to be equal to 50 degrees. Okay, you just have to kind of do a couple steps for some of these problems. This one says, what is the value of Y? All right, so here we have 3 of the same marks. We haven't seen this on the practice yet. 3 of the same marks means that it is an equilateral triangle. So all of them are the same. So we know that this one says it's 10. So that means every single side is going to be 10. So we want to know what Y is for the first part of number 4. Well, we would have Y plus 3 equals 10. So we would set that up right here and we would solve. So to do that, you would subtract 3 from both sides and you would get that Y is equal to 7. The next part of the question says, using the same diagram, so that same equilateral triangle, what is the value of X? This is a little bit easier because we know that they're all 10. It's just X by itself, so X is going to be equal to 10. All right. I'll do about one more and then I'll take a little break. I think it helps if I break it into 2 videos just for uploading it onto YouTube. So I'll do this last one and then I'll end this video and start another one. So number 6 is asking, what is the value of X? So first we have to look at our triangle. We have 2 marks that are the same. So we know because there's 2, it's going to be an isosceles triangle, which means that these are congruent. Congruent, if you remember from the whole semester, we've been saying congruent means the same or equal. So we would just set these as equal to each other. So we have 2x minus 9 equals x plus 5. Now this is where it might be a little challenging for some of you because you have to use a lot of algebra. So you subtract x from both sides. So we want to get rid of the x here, do minus x over here. So that would cancel out on this side and just leave us with 5. On this side, 2x minus 1x would just be x. We still have the negative 9, so we drop that down. We have to get x by itself, so we want to move over plus 9 plus 9. 5 plus 9 is equal to 14, so our answer is x equals 14. Now, that was a lot of steps. That's algebra, so I know that was a long time ago for some of you. Some of you might struggle with that. So what you can do is once you have the equation set up, 2x minus 9 equals x plus 5, you can plug that into Desmos. So let me pull that up right now. So if we have 2x minus 9 equals, 2x minus 9 equals x plus 5. So if we plug that in, we get a straight line right here, and that says 14. Okay, so you can also do it that way. We are going to have several other examples on this practice that are similar to that, so I'll show you those in the next video.